Hey, wholeness, welcome. Josh, Integrating Presence here, and today it's another Open Wisdom Wednesday. And this is where I hold Irregular Wisdom Office Hours. I ask unplanned, general, and specific questions for your wisdom, and you ask me. In the meantime, we share openly, likely from whatever is currently happening, to get at our wisdom. So, one of the things that came early on when I was thinking about doing this is put on the back burner, but I might talk about that. But what's really going on right now is this notion of things that we just take for granted in life. And then it comes out of nowhere, and then I realize, oh, I was expecting this one thing, and then it didn't happen. It was just going on autopilot, thinking it would happen the way it was just going to happen, and it didn't. And then being put in a situation where, or not even a situation where, whatever the choices are, they're not the choices one wants, and either one or any of the choices are probably not the most preferred or helpful. So then in a way it kind of makes it easy, because then whatever choice that I'm choosing in a situation that I don't want, and they seem to have about the same outcome, well then that's the good news. At least whatever I choose will be okay. And so now I've got a squirrel coming up here. I'm in Sarasota, Florida, for a vacation, and I've also got some crows crackling, and I guess somebody around here smoking a cigarette. So how's everybody doing today? What have you guys experienced around situations that you've just taken for granted that will happen and didn't even really realize that it was the case? Sorry, I'm looking at the squirrel here. Let me see if he wants to join on camera here. You ever find yourself in a life situation where, we do all the time, really, where it just happens, and it comes out of the blue, and it doesn't. Squirrel, I don't have anything for you. It happens, and we really didn't see it coming, where something we had planned happened, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. And then, one of the most important spiritual questions, it said, is, how are we when things don't go our way? What do you guys do in these situations? How are you? And what do you do about it? I'm sorry, but the answer for me comes up again and again. Meditation is the way to just be with how we are without causing any further misgivings to ourselves and those around us. So the other thing I wanted to talk about today was, or one of the other things, is presence. I've got this thing called integrating presence. Just one sec. And, presence, what is that? A present, not a present, but we are present when we, with presence. But before I even started that website, or, my work with integrating presence, people told me, Josh, you have a presence, and that's great. And I think we all kind of know what that means, but how would we give words to presence? I think one way to start is having an experience of what that is. And Heidi says hi. Hi, Heidi. Good to see you here today for this brief, 15-minute thing here. So presence, when someone comes into a room, right, there's certain people that just have this presence. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just like something noticeably different changes with just their state of being. They don't really have to say anything, do anything, be any particular way, or really even have any reason to be there or anything further complicated than just being present. And there's also this kind of feeling, this palpable feeling of maybe this person has, or something's going on here where it's different, right? There's this felt sense of all kinds of things, like maybe awareness and consciousness being heightened. Presence has like this interesting notion, I think. Someone becomes intrigued, fascinated either by an individual or something else, some other object or state of being in the area, or in one's general awareness. What else? What do you guys find about presence? Your experience with it, struggles with it. How can you create more presence in your life? How can we show up, whether we feel we have, if we're present or not? This goes into a talk I was listening to the other day, too, about giving ourselves fully to the moment, participating fully in whatever we're doing. I know I fail at this a lot, or failure is probably not the right word, but how do we show up and how can we participate fully? It was spawned out of a question someone asked a teacher. I think it was Gil Fronsdale, actually. Someone asked him, how do you, when you're in such a situation like where you're constantly bombarded with all kinds of things and you have to act very quickly, and there's a lot of things going on, a lot of demands, a lot of pressure. How do you be mindful under those circumstances and conditions? And he said, you participate fully in the moment. And I thought that was a really plain and simple way that everybody can relate to, and they don't have to try anything extra, striving, and we can't always participate fully, but we know what that means. We know how much we benefit and how much others benefit and how much more rewarding and fulfilling our everyday lives are the more we can participate fully in whatever we're doing, right? And I know, but then the question comes of what if we're doing what we don't want to do? Well, that's a whole nother situation, right? Colette says, love Gil's teachings. Yeah, he is probably one of my favorite lay teachers online. I've got a chance to talk to him in a couple online events, and I don't think now's the time to mention that, but it was very Zen-like for me anyway, his response to the question I gave him. So how do you guys participate fully, or what do you do when you can't, really? We were talking earlier on today about things not going our way, and things occurring where it's come out of the blue. And I think for me, a lot of it is just a remembering, to show up. And as soon as I can remember to do that, then it becomes easier. And then, of course, if we have a firm resolve to do so and keep bringing it to mind, of course, if we value that, if we value showing up and participating fully, then I think there's going to be this drive, this wholesome chanda, some people call it in the ancient languages, Pali, this wholesome desire. Instead of desiring or wanting things that aren't for our long-term happiness and well-being, we can desire things that are for our long-term happiness and well-being, and for that of other beings too. So that was another thing I was contemplating on here recently, is participating fully in whatever we're doing. Another talk Gil gave was that I heard, listened to. It wasn't, I don't know, too recent, but not too long ago, was this notion of vitality. And when we're in our meditation practice, especially those who are staying with the breath and using the breath as a meditation object, he looked at it from vitality. Some people this word, this old word, virya, but what the heck does that mean? A lot of times it's translated as energy or effort, and in the West that implies a lot of striving and doing, and there is effort involved. It's managing, how much effort is needed to stay with the meditation object, and how much can it just be more effortless, or having the breath breathe me. And all this without an ego or me doing it as much, although maybe sometimes that's called for too. But he looked at it as vitality instead of energy or effort. And this notion of actually what vitality is there actually already in the body and being or experience that's actually providing like a cause for the breath to happen, for the breath to continue with that. And so then tuning into the energetics of vitality that's actually driving the breathing, then it becomes a little bit more passive experience, a different mode of connecting with the breath. So looking at the underlying energy that's already there, or lack thereof, vitality that's there, that the body needs to continue breathing in order to, I guess, sustain the vitality, or to have it to be there in that way. Perhaps this is an area of investigation that I'm yet to fully experience or work with, because I've been doing this for a while, just in the past few days, working with vitality. It's even a book that I bought on sale, Vitality. Can't remember the author, but I haven't got around to reading it. So Tony says, spouse suffered a cerebral hemorrhage, both in a steep learning curve since he's lost most of his sight. Communication and a reminder of the love we hold for each other has carried us. It's beautiful, Tony. Christopher donated $1.99. Thank you for that, and I appreciate any donations. I don't know Insight Timer's thing, but it used to be, for a short time there, teachers kept all of it, and then I don't know if that's changed, if Apple gets a portion of it, but I appreciate it either way. Every little bit helps. And that's one of the requirements of these live events, actually, to do that. I'm going to go over Tony's, to request donations, right? So Tony says, spouse suffered a cerebral hemorrhage, both in a steep learning curve since he's lost most of his sight. Communication and a reminder of the love we hold for each other has carried us. So Tony, I'm really interested here in, well, it's maybe a little too personal, but these notions of, identity, who we thought we were, and these deeper notions, like she mentions of, or Tony, I don't know, male or female, but these deeper notions that are below our identity and these personality levels, who we think we are, right? What's there after what we thought was there goes away or breaks down? What's left after things happen that we don't expect or hadn't planned for? How are we when those things in life show up? So yeah, it's a really good reminder, and I love this notion of love. Of course, that's under it, and what's there, the love amongst folks, even when the conditions are not ideal for things like this, or maybe they actually even give more conditions for more love to grow and flourish. Well, guys, it's coming up on the end of 15 minutes. I appreciate the guys showing up. Is there anything else anybody wants to mention about vitality, expectations, not getting met, how we are with when that happens out of the blue, our choices around that, and our presence? Presence was the other thing I mentioned, and what your experience and learning process and wisdom is around presence. Well, with that, guys, I appreciate you joining here and allowing me the opportunity to have this platform, and Appreciate the donation with Christopher again and the sharing you guys give. And may you all find and be the most ideal presence, tuning into your vitality and mastering, learning from that, gaining wisdom from vitality. And may the love that you are, that you cultivate, that you show the world, be with you no matter what the circumstances or ups and downs of this experience are. And that was a beautiful ending there, but what's more important is Tony's response here. Female, thank you, forces you to hold your roots in place. It forces you to remain present with things always remaining in what's relevant. It's all relative. Wow, what an amazing outlook and attitude with that, Tony. So thank you so much for sharing that wisdom and being here today and offering your wisdom to everyone here. All right, you all. You're welcome, Tony. And you're welcome, Colette. Bye now.